All right, guys, let's take a look at another one.
I just got off the phone with a lady who wants to sell her home. Super nice lady, very sweet. But the problem is that as I was listening to her story and like what's been going on, it was very clear to me that she is living my worst nightmare. Underlying theme here of why things have gone so terribly wrong for this lady, and I truly do feel for her, but it really comes down to the fact that she bought a home that was too expensive for her because one, her realtor did not educate her properly on the consequences of what she was getting herself into. Her lender did not educate her as well. This lady felt so pressured to buy a home and go through the entire.
This is a really interesting point. So I don't know who this person is. Look, sounds like she's a licensed real estate agent. If you have decent credit and decent income, the chances are you're going to get pre-approved for a home purchase price potentially way higher than your comfort level. So it's always important to think in terms of, hey, what am I actually comfortable with for a monthly housing payment versus, hey, I'm approved for up to $500,000, because at the end of the day, it's about payment.
Process and closed because everyone was telling her that it was a great time to buy. This was years ago when the interest rates were low. Everyone was buying a home. She felt like this was the next thing for her to do, like she had to buy a home. Ultimately, it just did not make sense for her, and she feels now a ton of buyer's remorse because she's like, my mortgage is too expensive and I need to get out of this. Like, it was like, this is crazy what I'm paying for my mortgage in addition to just all the expenses that come with being a homeowner. Being a homeowner costs money. Your home requires maintenance that isn't factored into your mortgage payment. So when you're looking at the expense of buying a home, yes, you have your monthly mortgage payment, which is like principal, interest to your mortgage lender, but then also property
Principal, interest, and property taxes.
Taxes and homeowners insurance are additional expenses to owning a home, like doing routine landscaping or replacing air filters or cleaning your carpets routinely. Things like that add up over time. At this point in the conversation, she's like, okay, I need to get out of this house because a mortgage is just so expensive, like putting a huge financial burden on me. And I was like, okay, let's see what you can sell your house for. But when I go through all the data of all the comps of what has sold recently in her area to give her an estimate for what I think her home could actually sell for, it's lower than what she paid. Bought this home less than 2 years ago. And so when we say like real estate always appreciates in value, I'm not talking over the course of 5 years. I'm talking over the course of like 10, 15, 30 years. Real estate always appreciates. But for one,
very true. In the short term, if you said to me, hey, I bought my house a year or 2 or 3 years ago, or I want to sell my house, I bought it today, and then 2 years from now you want to sell it, it may or may not have gone up, because historically it does go up like this over time. However, in that straight line, it kind of goes like this too. So real important consideration. Long term, yeah, usually not an issue at all. Shorter terms, we have no idea. I wish I had a crystal ball.
one home over the course of less than 2 years, it's very normal for the home's value to ebb and flow. And that's why it's really, really tricky. If you just bought a home and now you have to sell it, usually people end up eating a loss. So then I told this lady, okay, well, if you sell your home at this price, which is what I think it'll actually sell for, you can list it for much higher, but it's not going to sell for that. You sell your home at this price, you're going to lose this amount of money based on not just the fact that your home has lost value, but also there are costs associated with selling a home. Just like, oh, no, like I don't want to take a loss like that. And I was like, I wouldn't either. Totally get it. Have you thought about renting out your home? Like you could move to a different place, go rent an apartment that's much cheaper than your mortgage and rent out your home. When I looked at the numbers for that, the problem is that even though her interest rate is really low, she just lives in an area that doesn't have a ton of rental demand or anything. So homes rent really, really cheap. She would end up having a pretty negative cash flow if she wanted to rent out her home for fair market value.
The truth is, when you look at taking your home and turning it into a rental, there are a lot of concerns there. But let's see where she goes with this.
Unfortunately, this lady just doesn't have that many options, and all the options that she has, they honestly suck. Like they're really terrible. It's an impossible decision of picking which option is the least terrible. I think if it were me, I would just rent out the home and just eat the cost of the negative cash flow, because let's say I'm negatively cash flowing $1,000 a month, which like that's substantial. Like that really hurts. I would rather lose $1,000 per month than pay like $50,000 when I sell the home at a loss all in one go, you know? Because if I rent the home at $1,000 loss per month over the course of a year, that's just a $12,000 loss versus writing a check for 50 grand all in one go. Like that's.
I don't think this is good advice, and I'll tell you why. If she's already in a financial hardship with this situation over here, and she's worried about her monthly mortgage payment, now she goes and rents a place for herself to live in and then puts a tenant into the house. The question then becomes not if the house ever goes vacant, it's when. you will end up at some point in between tenants, or even worse, a tenant that experiences a hardship and can't pay rent. Now this woman's going to struggle to pay her rent, and she's going to have a mortgage to pay on this house that she doesn't even live in. I don't think this is good advice at all.
My preference, but people are different. The way that you prevent this happening to you is that, one, don't.
Maybe she should consider taking in a roommate or a family member to offset some of her monthly mortgage payment, or a second job, unfortunately, until the market appreciates enough for her to sell it.
Feel pressure to buy a home just because everyone else is doing it. Don't listen to the media and the news being like, now's a great time to buy a home, you can get a deal, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, it is you and your bank account making those mortgage payments on the home. So if it doesn't make sense for you, it doesn't make sense for you. Don't feel pressured to buy a home just because it's the right thing to do at this stage in your life or whatever. If you do plan to buy a home because you're in a comfortable financial situation where you're like, I can do this comfortably and it's not going to stress me out, great. But just have some sort of contingency plan, because life events can happen. You might get the job offer of a lifetime in another city. There might be family stuff going on that forces you to move back home.
Things happen, by the way, right? So in her case, the client or potential client is talking about how the house is just too expensive for her. But I've sold homes to people, and unfortunately, there's a major life change, like a job, like this woman just mentioned. Unfortunately, sometimes relationships change, and sometimes these things happen in the very short term. And then the question becomes, is there enough equity to actually sell the house? And how do we navigate our way through it?
Like, there are just a lot of things out of your control that could happen. Back of your head, just start thinking about your contingency plan if something were to happen in the near future, not 5 years from now, because hopefully your home will have appreciated enough 5 years from now to where you wouldn't eat a substantial loss selling your home. But be aware that buying a home, which is buying real estate, it comes with risk. I feel like all things real estate and real estate.
It does. It always comes with risks, right? You own an asset which over time will appreciate, but in the short term, we don't really know. Thanks for watching.